Hey everybody, Eric Schweitzer here for The Gamer, and I'm here today with the Demon Boy himself, George Foster.
Hello, everyone. How we doing?
Today we're here to talk about Sandland.
Woo!
George,
Sandland.
take us away. What is the Sandland?
So, Sandland is a one-shot manga from 2000. So, a year after I was born. For anyone who wants to feel really old right now, or maybe younger than me, but it was made by Akira Toriyama, obviously, who passed away very recently, which was devastating. He's the creator of Dragon Ball, Doctor Slump, a true icon in the manga and anime industry. And back in 2000, he was like, "Oh, I want to draw something about a tank." So he did Sandland, which is a little story about the demon fiend prince Beelzebub and his adventures with a demon and a sheriff to go find the source of water in Sandland and basically make it not a desert, awful place to live.
So, big push for Sandland all of a sudden because they did a movie last year,
He did.
and there's an anime ongoing series, and
Yeah.
now this game.
I have to admit, I read Sandland years ago because I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan. If you've been on the site, anything Dragon Ball is usually me. I love it. So I went back and I was like, oh, read the other stuff. So I read Sandland years ago, loved it. I'm very surprised to see it get this much attention.
Yeah.
I think it totally deserves it. It's one of Toriyama's best, but because the original manga is so short, it's literally an hour.
It's like
read.
20 chapters, yeah.
Yeah, it's super short, super linear. It's not. There's some major story beats. It's not just vehicles and going around the desert. There's stuff that happens obviously, but I was still pretty surprised to see it, and even more surprised to see a game. A manga, an anime series and a movie, they make sense, but a game, I was like, oh, that's a nice surprise.
So you and I both attended separate press events for Sandland this month. Mine was at the Bandai Namco office in Irvine, California. Where was yours?
In London at the Red Bull, I think it's called the Red Bull Gaming Arena, something like that. But yeah, Bandai do a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, and so just to talk a little bit more about what Sandland is, because I wasn't familiar with it before playing the game. I haven't seen the movie yet or anything.
Are you into Dragon Ball at all? Is that?
No. No, I'm not.
Eric.
No, I don't have a weeb bone in my entire body, unfortunately.
No.
I guess Kingdom Hearts is my only sin.
Okay. I rescind my gasp.
So what captured my attention about Sandland is that it's about a little demon boy and his two old men compatriots. it's it's like a little annoying boy, two very old men, and then just the quintessential waifu. That's the cast of this story.
It is, yeah. And that waifu is brand new as well. That's another strange thing about it. And completely original to. Well, it's weird getting into it. I talk about this in my preview, but Sandland the game introduces a bunch of new stuff, which we'll get onto. It does Forestland and Anne, but that stuff is also introduced in the anime, and the anime is the movie but cut up into a series but with extra stuff. It's really, really weird how they've done it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that because during the preview they were like, oh, don't talk about this one thing at all. We had an embargo for the preview, but they were like, there's this one story thing, you can't talk about it because it's a spoiler for the anime.
Yeah, I think we had a similar one. And what was strange about that is that, I guess because the anime is out now, you can watch it. It's been out for a week or so. So some of the stuff that's in it, most people will now know. But I think the anime is releasing weekly.
Yeah, so that's the thing.
The big reveal we saw, or that was referenced within a scene that we saw, I don't think anyone will be able to know until the game's out. So I guess that's why they're being cagey about it for now.
So I guess the game and the anime are telling the same story?
Kind of. So it's really strange. There's one scene in the game where you go and steal a tank, which is it happens in the manga, but it's kind of like a much shorter scene. In this, is kind of like a whole stealth mission. Um, and when you steal the tank, Anne is there, and you have a conversation with her, and you take her out of the facility, and then she's like kind of a character in the story, I guess. In the movie, she's not in it at all, right? So in the anime, which is just a movie cut up for the first half, she isn't introduced until like the new stuff comes in. So there's already kind of like a discrepancy between like what the game and the anime are doing.
Oh,
It's
okay.
really it's strange. I get why they do it for
Very
the game.
strange.
It's like
Yeah.
one long experience, so obviously her being in it from the start makes sense, but it confused the hell out of me, and I know Sandland, so
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I don't know Sandland, so it's very confusing. Okay, but let's talk a little bit about what the game is. So this is an open world action game,
mhm.
sort of you could call it like anime Mad Max,
Yes,
right?
and you should. I
Um,
like that.
and it has some novel things around like the vehicles that I want to talk about. But you and I played like I think we played the same thing. We played like a long level through like a water temple,
Yes, yeah,
and then and then a story chapter in the open world, both in Sandland and in Forestland, right?
yeah. So we had that, and then there was like one final bit where it's like go do what you want.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
So this game is the most like PS2 ass game of all time. Like it is so, and not all in a bad way. Like I did have fun, but it's just like it's so funny to play a 2024 game that feels like I'm playing like Jack and Daxter or something.
yeah,
Did you
yeah.
get that vibe too?
I definitely got that vibe from the on foot section. So
Yeah.
basically, how it works is when you're not in a vehicle, and there are quite a few of them, you're playing as Beelzebub, and you're running around like these massive environments that feel like way too big for how small he is. Did you kind of get
Right.
that? Like
Yeah.
you're doing platforming. It's like, can I even make that jump? Like it's so massive, and you can, but it's like the areas are so massive that walking around kind of feels janky. Kind of
Mm.
that's how I feel, and the combat's so simple. I still had some fun with it, like it felt good, but and it looked flashy, but the main focus is the vehicles, really.
Yeah, everything outside of the vehicles feels like the most like basic lowest common
Yeah,
denominator action platformer. Like the so it's like the Sandland is like the big open world, and then there's all these dungeon, underground, more linear, more puzzle focused
mm,
segments, and some of those are for the story, and some of those are like side missions. But the one that they had us go through, the like press demo, was
yeah,
so bad. It's
yeah,
like it's like your standard water temple where you have to raise the water levels up and down. But there's no puzzle there to the level design. It's just forward progression. It's just like go here, pull a lever, water go up, go to the next place, pull lever, water go down.
yeah,
And to get across the water, you have to summon your hover car. So the gameplay loop of like getting through this segment that's like a half hour long is like open the radio menu, select the car, throw it, it pops up, you get in it, you drive it for 2 seconds across the water, jump out, go up some stairs, open the radio menu, select the car, throw it, get in it.
yeah.
Like, and it's just that over and over. And I was like,
It
oh
was.
my God.
It felt like the rest of my time with Sandland, like I was, it went by pretty fast, but that water temple was like a slow moment. And I was really excited to see that bit because before we went into the game, they kind of told us like what we'd be seeing, and they're like, "Oh, this dungeon leads into Forestland." And obviously, as someone who likes the original Sandland, I'm like, "Oh, I'm really interested to see how they expand on the world. Like, I want to see what is
Yeah.
going to be a sequel." So going into that and then having this like slow dungeon that doesn't really have anything to it.
Yeah.
The boss fight was cool.
I will say the boss was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
The boss is like a octopus, I guess.
yeah, it was like an octopus. You had to like fly around on the hover car shooting, and like
And
the
it's
hover
popping
car,
in and out of the water.
yeah. And it
Yeah.
goes like you can hold a button to make it hover higher than it already is, so you're dodging the tentacles like that. and it was like decently challenging as well. Like I think I died during it, and I was like, wow, you know, this octopus has fangs. Like that was a cool moment.
Yeah, yeah. I thought the boss fight was cool. The real hook of the game is all the vehicles,
Yeah, for sure.
right? And so there's like 5 classes, I guess you could say, of vehicles.
So there's the tank, the motorbike, the hover car, the jump bot, the mech suit, and
Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing one.
Well, the car can be either like a buggy or a motorcycle, but they're
Yes.
the same type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's all of them. Yeah. And so, and they're all like really customizable. You can like change out all the stats. It doesn't really change the car other than like you can swap out the motor and the wheels and all these different parts, but it's just sort of stat lines that you're
Yeah.
changing, right?
You can't tell the difference that much.
Yeah.
I will say, like, moving around in these vehicles, and this is the thing that stood out the most to me, it felt really good. Like, the driving was pretty great. Moving around, like, especially on the motorbike, you can... Each of the vehicles has, like, weapons attached to it, and my motorbike came with, like, a shotgun. So, like, during my free roaming bit, I was just sliding around on the motorbike and then doing
Yeah.
little turns and then shotgunning dinosaurs. I was like, yeah, this is pretty
Yeah.
rad.
You can change the weapons a lot.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
yeah. That's one thing that actually does make a big difference is what weapons you equip. And then when you're in a vehicle, you can instant swap to any other vehicle,
Yeah.
which is cool. It just transforms the vehicle you're in.
It's just when you
So
have to get out and then do it, like the water temple, where I was like,
yeah, getting out of it. Yeah.
yeah,
But a lot of the like overworld combat stuff where you're just fighting a bunch of different vehicles was really fun. I
yeah,
liked it a lot. I really like the mech suit. He can block, and then he can just like do big uppercuts and launch tanks into the air.
yeah.
That was really fun. But simple.
Simple. I think that's
Yeah.
it. There's a surprising amount of depth to the vehicles themselves, like the amount you can change and do to them. But I still feel like no matter what you do to them, what you're, it doesn't change the gameplay particularly. Like you're still just driving around shooting stuff, but that feels great. Like it was simple fun. I think.
Yeah. I think it did a good job of balancing the gameplay and cutscenes. I didn't feel like I was sitting there watching a whole movie,
Yeah.
but then it fills in the gaps with just the chatter while you're on missions. Like
Mm,
a lot of the dialogue between the characters, it does more than flavor. It really like tells you about the world.
yeah.
And I thought that was cool as someone who doesn't really know Cianlin that much. Like after I met the king, who's this like big balloon
Idiot.
whiny little idiot.
Yeah.
Then they're like I was like walking through a cave somewhere and Ro was like, oh, the king's been on the scene since before humans were here. And I was like, wait, what? That was a lot. That's a lot to take in.
It's like, and that's another thing. I've barely even. This is kind of like the bit that excited me was all the fact that this is basically a recap and a sequel at the same time.
Yeah.
You get to see more of characters like the king. Like in the original, he's just like a villain. He's just a water hungry dick who's like cheating everyone out of money. But in this, like, there's way more to him. Like you see, like what he struggles with. You see him kind of try and act as a hero. And again, it feels too early to say because we've seen several bits of the game like kind of cut up, and we don't know how it all connects. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I was really happy to see more of characters from the manga that are only like briefly in it, like the swimmers as well. I don't know if
Oh yeah, the swimmers.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
you do remember because they were weird. They're quite like central to certain scenes, especially in the animated movie.
It's
But
like a battalion of these like speedo wearing. They're like
yeah,
Navy SEALs, basically.
yeah, in a place where they can't even swim. It's such a weird world, man. Like to
Yeah.
speak about it, like as straight faced as we are, like there's nothing like Sandman.
Right.
And I think the game is definitely rough around the edges. Especially when you're out of vehicles, like there's stuff that doesn't quite feel right. and there's moments of like frustration. I think there's something special inside. Diamond in the rough, as they
It's
say.
it's got a lot of the open world trappings, right? It's got like your fetch quests. It's got
Mm,
bounties where you'll go find a mini boss and take him out, and that'll give you like a blueprint for a new
yeah,
car or something. Like the world's full of little like pockets of things to do, but it has a cool way of like leveraging all the different vehicles. Like there's instead of just like climbing a tower, you have to use the jump bot to sort of platform your way up
yeah, yeah.
to a high point. And there was one area I found where you had to take a ramp over a gap, and then when you got there, there was like a quest guy and a big open area for like a very specific quest for this area. And so I used my little buggy, like my fast car, and it would not make the ramp. So I had to go swap it out for the motorcycle, which is the same vehicle type, but the motorcycle had a higher top
Okay.
speed, and the motorcycle would make the jump into that. So I was like,
Could you
oh,
not? Could
okay.
you not
So
have
that
a car over it?
you couldn't hover. Yeah, the gap was too far. The hover car wouldn't
Okay.
stay. But I bet if you had a hover car that had a high enough hover
True.
stat,
True.
you might be able to make that. Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
feel like.
yeah,
Go on.
just more. I don't know. I hate to overuse depth, but there was more thought that went into the different vehicles and how you customize them than just like I'm gonna put the highest number thing on and go on with my
Yeah.
day. You
Yeah.
know.
I feel like as well. I don't think we got to experience like the best parts of Sandland
Hmm.
properly. Like, I feel like the best parts are going to be, like you say, messing with vehicles and seeing what they can do and exploring the open world. Like we got a little bit of that, or at least like I certainly did. I got to jet around for a bit, but the moments we experienced were more story focused and more linear.
Hmm.
And I enjoyed them, but that's also where I think some of the bigger faults like shine through.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely in. Like I was in from the moment they said it because I'm a Toriyama nerd and anything adjacent to Dragon Ball is like right up my alley. But I do think there's a lot to enjoy.
Oh, all the vehicles have like a alt too. So like with the tank, you can activate this thing where it like digs into the ground, it plants itself, and then it can unlimited fire for a
What?
certain amount of time.
I didn't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Every vehicle has like an ultimate attack.
Oh, I think I used one. I think maybe it was the jump bot. I think I could do like something with that, like maybe a bunch of missiles firing out at once.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a swarm missile thing you can do with the that I think that's with the mech one. And then the motorcycle, you can release a drone that'll distract enemies, so they'll fire at the drone instead of you, and you can drive
Oh, I
by
had
it.
no idea.
And then it also has one where you can drop a, uh, a checkpoint and then fast travel back to it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea. I think I definitely saw like the thing pop up for it saying like use a drone. I just never did.
Hmm.
Did you do the mission with like the big like all out war?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like tough, right?
Yeah, that was tough. That yeah, I had to use that alt to plant the tank down and then like just fire a million missiles at the big tank
Yeah,
at the Shadow Hod.
yeah, that was a cool moment.
Do you remember when this comes out?
April, I want to say 26th, but I'm not
Okay,
100%.
cool. It's only about a month away.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's definitely April, so not far.
nice. Any last thoughts on Sandland?
Uh, give it a go.
Give it a
There's a demo
go.
out. There is a demo out.
Oh yeah,
You won't get as much time with it as we did, but you'll get to experience, I believe, some of the vehicle stuff, and that's
yeah.
cool.
Some of the open world stuff, some of the vehicle stuff. Yeah, and then George has a full preview that's linked down in the description. That's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell, and visit us at thegamer.com. That's the gamer, no space.